It's the PokerNews Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 831st episode of the PokerNews Podcast. I am Chad Holloway at Level 9 Studio in Las Vegas, joined this week once again by Kyna England, but filling in for Mike Holtz, Nikki Limo, the loose cannon herself.
That's me. Okay, so right before you started, I had a flashback and I just got so embarrassed because I realized I wore the same exact shirt last time I was on this podcast. And I have a lot of clothes.
Everybody's going to notice.
They're all going to know now. Be like, is that her only shirt?
That's really funny. This morning when I was getting dressed, I wanted to wear the outfit that I wore last week on the podcast, and I remembered, I'm like, oh no, different outfit.
It's just like my summertime feel. Like I feel like summer's here.
Summery,
we're ready. We're like geared to go.
Well, I pretty much wear this shirt every single time. So
embarrassing.
yes, the black button up, you know. Well, we're going to have a fun episode because the first two episodes of the PokerStars Big Game dropped last week.
They did.
And you are the star of that show.
I am. I cannot believe that still to this day because I loved that show. And I remember when I first started taking poker more seriously and I was watching so many episodes, I was like, oh God, I wish they had this show still because I could be on it because I don't know how to play. And like, I'm new and like I could just play with Phil Hellmuth and that would be so fun, and never thought it could happen. And then when it came back, when I saw that like it was coming back and like they were going to be at Resorts World, I was like so excited. Oh my God, I can't wait for it to come back. I wonder who the loose cannon's going to be. It could be me.
Yay! Oh my God, and it was.
And then it was.
So it was last November, I remember, because I was there at the NEPT at Resorts World. But didn't you have to like win a satellite or something to be able to audition?
Yes. So we had to win a shootout.
Right.
There were 20 tables total. So there were 2 rounds, like 2 different start times, like going on. And then like you had to win your table. So then there were 20 auditionees total.
Right.
And then 2 of them got disqualified because they were too far up in the poker.
Two pros.
world.
Well, I saw in the
professional.
interview section, like Ronnie Barda.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
he was one of those.
How did he sneak through? Like, what are you doing there, Ronnie? Come on.
Well, and they did a good job, like not really emphasizing how they were going to give a main event seat to the winners as well, because like I don't think they wanted to incentivize pros to play.
I remember hearing about that, like, and being like, oh man, I might have tried to play if I knew that. Like, it's like a satellite too, like
basically, yeah. And it was
awesome,
a free roll.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you look very closely too, I am also on the big game in the first episode. So check it out, okay?
yeah, you, Lindsay, and a few other people were like on the rail as I was winning because you were playing the ladies event, which was happening right next door.
Yeah.
It was like right next to us. And it was like the day after my birthday party, too.
Yeah, you got to talk about the power of the fuzzy hat.
Real quick, did you not win that ladies event?
I did. That's what I'm saying. She's got to talk about the power of the fuzzy hat.
Okay, so we have power in a fuzzy hat. So I went to karaoke for my birthday. My husband set it up as like a surprise kind of thing. And so he didn't have the phone numbers for people like that I wanted to invite from like the poker community. So last minute I was like trying to text everyone that I would want to be there, and Kyna came and she was there, and I had a fuzzy hat on. It was like a tie-dye pastel fuzzy hat, and I got a hat for my birthday while I was there. So I gave that one to Kyna and she was wearing it, and then she's like, I have a sweatshirt that goes perfectly with this, and I was like, okay, well, it's yours, like go wear it to play, you know, to the tournament. And I wore a different fuzzy hat to my shootout tournament, so we were both wearing fuzzy hats. And then we both won.
Yeah, crazy.
So then I just handed out Run Good fuzzy hats to everyone for Christmas. I wish you guys would have
worn them here today.
I thought about it on the way too. I was like, oh man, we should have wore our fuzzy hats today being on the podcast. But no, they're very powerful. You don't want to misuse the power.
Don't waste it on PokerNews Podcast.
Well, I mean, the World Series of Poker coming up in a week.
Yeah.
We'll have to coordinate and wear it to like the same event. Maybe the ladies event.
Yeah, the ladies event.
So. Yeah, everybody that has a fuzzy hat has to wear it to the ladies event.
So the 2 episodes, the first 2 episodes, there's going to be 5 in total?
Yes.
And they're airing where?
There's going to be 5 in total of mine and then 5 of Lily's.
Right.
So they're airing on Fox Sports 1 and on the PokerStars YouTube channel. Which
is where we have a clip from. We actually have a quick clip of you when you were selected to be the loose cannon. Oh my God, and so fun. We're going to show that now.
But in the end, one contender stood out above the rest.
Nikki, you're on this.
Congratulations to Nikki Limo, a podcast host and amateur player now living her poker dream as our loose cannon.
I am a retired comedian that is very cute and adorable. And does podcasts with my husband. Welcome back to They Don't Tell You.
And today we are talking about
Cats.
and what things that you can do to mess up a good relationship.
Ooh, that's a good topic.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of topics, so it's now kind of morphed into conspiracy theories and relationship advice. I feel like I really represent the everyman, the every woman, if you will, and I really hope to do them justice. I'm gonna take the moment in. I'm just gonna wow, we're here. But at the end of the day, it's about having as much fun as possible for as long as possible.
Nikki gets $50K to play with, but only keeps anything she wins over that amount. But making a profit will not be easy, because Nikki will be facing off against a table of poker icons.
All right. So, I mean, was it as fun as it looked to go through the process, have to audition and, ultimately get chosen?
Yeah, it was panic attack inducing as well, because it was an all day thing. We were there from 8 a.m. to, I want to say 9 at night. It was all day. And there's long lulls of waiting in isolation while they're interviewing other people. And so, yeah, it was pretty nerve wracking, even having done auditions all my life. I don't know. This one was a big deal because it was so close to my heart. And I, up until the very moment, a lot of people were you knew you were getting picked, blah, blah, blah. We did not. There were really funny people there. There was one person in particular that was in my group of getting selected. Lily was in a separate group. Right. That I was they can't not cast this person. And so if we're both here,
was it the guy you hugged?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was cute. I wondered that if it was it came down to the
shout out to Paul. What's up? Yeah. And he was so fun. And I was it's tough competition out there. It wasn't a slam dunk.
For those who don't know how the big game works, it's basically there's a loose cannon, a more amateur player going up against the pros, and you get a $50,000 stake in the game, and any profit you make, you get to keep.
Exactly. You have to play 150 hands. And that's what's the other nerve-wracking part is what if the variance is really good in the beginning and then not at the end? Or what if vice versa and you bust? Or what if you just get aces versus kings first hand in? There's a lot of variables where it's okay, I have one bullet in this cash game. And then Keating's there with 400 big blinds or whatever, 500 big blinds.
He was pretty crazy on that show too.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's pot limit pre-flop, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it gives, so you don't run aces, kings pre-flop or something.
Hopefully not. But there was a straddle on.
Right.
And then Keating was potting every.
I loved it. I watched it and you could see Keating just be pot, and then look at the dealer to tell him how much that was, and and Lex would be it's 6,500. It was funny.
Yeah, the dynamic of the personalities at the table was really funny. Honestly, not even trying to be biased, this was the most fun cash game I have ever played. Just the personalities were so fun to play with.
You had Keating, Lex Veldhuis,
yes,
Phil Hellmuth, Jennifer Tilly, Arden Cho, and yourself.
Yeah,
we talked about Arden a lot.
Why did you not bring your Jennifer Tilly picture then for that?
What's wrong with you?
We are Jennifer Tilly fans
I'm
here.
a huge Jennifer Tilly fan.
I love her. I hope to meet you someday, Jen.
She's amazing. She's just so sweet, so funny, so on it too, just whip smart.
I love the table talk too. She'll just be thinking out loud. She'll be well, I'm supposed to fold here, but I think that you think that I know that. So
no, really, she was the best.
I think one of the things that I enjoyed seeing on the episode was this part of the audition process where they had you play this two truths and a bluff?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because it was towards the end of the night. So a lot of people were their energy was just dying down, and it was hard to think of things. But I don't know. I love playing games like that. So I felt the only hard part was trying to figure out something that I hadn't said before, because I've said a lot of things online throughout the years that I felt people might have put together. So, so I don't know if you saw it, but we
actually have a clip to show.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll show that right here.
And we got a sneak peek of her bluffing skills in her audition.
All right, welcome back, Nikki.
one of the things you're going to tell us about you is not true, because we have 2 truths and a bluff.
We just want to hear a little bit more from you and see how good you are at bluffing.
I modeled for cat food.
Okay.
I did Polynesian dancing for 10 years. I once built a hand grenade. Boom.
Why did you make it?
Science.
Okay, what brand of cat food?
Purina, but only in the Latin market.
All right.
Can you show us some of the Polynesian moves?
I'll just say these are 3 very good lies.
I actually think the hand grenade was a plausible story.
The hand grenade was the lie.
Nikki managed to fool us with her bluffing skills and along the way claimed her spot as the loose cannon.
Nikki's a star. Oh my God. She's got great personality. She lights up the room. She brings this very good vibe with her. I think Nikki is going to fare really well. She doesn't shy away from anything. She's very confident.
We all think Nikki's a star, but will she leave here having won more than just hearts and minds? Well,
yeah, so I picked the cat one because I thought exactly what James said was like, that's too obvious. Like, that's got to be the lie. But I really was on a cat billboard, a cat food billboard in Buenos Aires.
I wish I had a picture of that.
I'll send you one.
Yeah.
And I'm on the cat food bag, and then
What? You're on a cat food bag?
but only in the Latin market.
But still, do you like have that cat food bag?
Yeah, I do. My friend went to Mexico and she's like, "You're on all the cat food bags."
Oh my God,
so
that's
I'm gonna
so
bring
cool.
one.
What
And
a fun souvenir.
She had to empty it out though because they wouldn't let her bring it through customs. But I have like the bag. And then I picked hula dancing because that's just random, and I was a professional hula dancer for like 10 years when I was younger. And then I needed a third one to be the lie, and I just started Googling like how to make an explosive, and I said that I got kicked out of the science fair in 8th grade because I made an explosive, like for my volcano like science project, and then they're like, how do you make, they're trying to like figure it out if it's the bluff. And so like, how do you make one? And like, I just had it right here. I was like, well, it was a long time ago, but I think you do the XYZ. I don't even remember now, but it was fresh in my memory. And so, I tricked James, but that was it.
Well, we're going to flip the script on you right now and play a little game that we didn't forewarn you about, but kind of knows. We're going to play the 2 truths and a bluff. So you're going to have to guess what me and Kyna are bluffing about.
Okay, I love it.
You want to go first?
Okay. I actually just remembered that we talked about this right before the show started. So I had some though, but I was like, wait, what are they again? You know what I mean? Okay. So when I was younger, I used to ice skate for several years and take lessons and do shows. And my very first job was actually working the concession stand at the ice skating ring. That's one. And then I have like a very serious vitamin D deficiency. So I have to take vitamin D supplements every day. And I was on the swim team all throughout high school.
I don't know the answer to this one either.
Should I listen to yours first or just guess hers?
I think we should just go for hers.
I feel like she wants me to pick the swim team one, but it's probably the ice skating one. I'm going to go with the ice skating.
No, it's a vitamin D
That's
thing.
what I was thinking.
I'm actually one of the
way.
rarest people in the world that doesn't have a vitamin D deficiency as a ginger redhead,
Wow.
fair-skinned person.
That
I
one
know,
was a
isn't that
slam dunk
crazy?
to me.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that one's true. Like, next. Who
right.
doesn't have a vitamin D deficiency? I do.
Kinda
win. I
gets-
bluffed you.
You win.
Bluffed through. All right,
the
my
worst.
turn. All right, you ready for this one?
Yes.
All right. I once met Donald Trump before he was president.
Okay.
I was at the movie premiere for Runner Runner starring Ben Affleck and Justin Timberlake. And I once watched somebody get punched in the face at Phil Hellmuth's bracelet party.
Those are also great.
Those are like, they're just really like believable. Like all of them are believable.
Well, 2 of them
to
are
have
true.
happened.
So.
Yeah. I don't think you went to the Runner Runner premiere.
So I did go to the Runner Runner premiere with my good friend Sarah Herring. It was the red carpet right across the strip at Planet Hollywood back in, I don't know, 2013, 14, something like that.
Yeah.
And I did watch somebody get punched in the face.
I was hoping it
at
wasn't that one.
The WSOP Europe, Phil Hellmuth won the main event
Yeah.
for his, 13th bracelet or something at the time. And we had a party. He had a party at the club like 3 a.m, and a fight broke out. Hellmuth was right there, Liv Beret. I was right there, and some guy just got right in the face, and just like in a movie, fell back and landed on the table and glass and liquid, just like in the movie. Not even joking.
Gosh.
Yeah, and we all had to jump out of the booth. Hellmuth did too. He protected Liv Beret, which I thought was very, gentlemanlike. But that was very crazy.
Oh, nice.
So you did not meet Trump.
I've never met Trump.
Wow.
So,
You did a good job at delivering all 3 of those the same.
I guess
So
I'm
I
a
was
good
I was
bluffer.
looking. I was like,
Maybe Nikki's just very easy to bluff.
I am probably. I usually, at the table, I like talk to them a little bit and try to get some tells.
We should have I played a version of this on a different podcast where I had to come up with the truth and a lie, and there were questions allowed, and I was not told there were questions allowed until before we started. And I'm like, okay, prepare.
I should have asked questions.
Yeah,
I was prepared for you to ask. Like my Donald Trump was Annie Duke was on Celebrity Apprentice before he was president. So I had that one. I was ready. Yeah,
because on the show they did ask questions and they were drilling me about.
That's fun though, and they still got it wrong.
They made me do a hula dance, like all kinds of that. All kinds of stuff.
Well, speaking of bluffing, one of the standout moments from the big game was on episode 2 in a hand with you and Phil Hellmuth. It was quite interesting. We're going to show that hand right now, and then we'll come back and chat about it.
Okay.
All right, here it is.
I think you think I have a flush draw. That bricked. I think you have Jack 10.
Whoa.
Good skills.
Could I fold you off Jack 10?
Not at this point.
No.
This is great. Okay.
$10,000.
And she bets. I love it.
Okay, this is awesome.
All that talking, I guess she has to have it 500 on the flop.
The muttering has begun.
That's pretty gangster. That's how people try to talk to the loose cannon normally,
He's not wrong. Nadia, pray.
Nice hand.
You're the one with a nice hand, Philip.
What? No.
You called he has a Jack 10. That's crazy.
Wow. Nice call, Phil.
Wow.
That was a really bold move by Nikki, and Nadia approves.
Yeah. You guys would have folded, right?
I can't believe you said you have Jack 10. Can I fold you off Jack 10? And then it was so ballsy how you put out that 10K.
Thank you.
And yes, and it was ballsy how you called.
That was a hard call. That was a very hard call. I told you I wasn't folding Jack 10. I said no.
I know. That's why I thought a bet would fuck with you.
Yes.
That was a great hand.
Thank you.
That was a really good hand to watch.
That was a great hand. Nikki made a terrific bluff. She called my exact 2-hole cards.
I think you have Jack 10.
She was so brilliant. Usually when someone says you have exactly Jack 10 and then they make their bet, you're like, whoa, and you fold.
You know what? I'm impressed. She just knows her opponent. She knows that she can do it against Phil.
My logic said she has me, but my gut said call. Nice hand.
He's like, nice hand. And I was like, nice call. I had 9 high. And everyone was like, wow, you called it. So I felt good about that.
All right, so there you have it. You got a lot of props from Nadia, from Hellmuth himself about trying to pull off that bluff, but ultimately he called.
Yeah, I feel like if he would have folded, I would have gotten the beratement that I was seeking. That was like one of my bucket list items for the show, was like, I want to get berated in notorious Hellmuthian style. But he was nothing but kind to me in the entire time. I think he might have berated me if I showed the bluff after, but yeah, and because he won the pot, he just gave me a nice good job, good. That was good.
You so red called his hand too. That was pretty.
I
sick.
did. Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. I was proud of that. I just, I feel like I'm pretty good at putting people on a few hands, or obviously a range of hands, but for him specifically, how he would play that hand. And then it was only a matter of during the hand earlier, you could hear him say, "Oh, I thought you had ace queen, but maybe you have something better." And so I used that. I would play queens this way. I would table talk him about this if I had a value hand as well, and what would I bet for value. And in hindsight, I think I should have bet pot and a half and just been polarized after table talking. But, I also just was like, well, what would I get value out of after calling someone's exact hand?
Yeah.
So it was an interesting spot, but it was really fun. It was even more fun that he showed that I called his hand after.
That was the most strategy talk we've ever had on this podcast.
Wow.
Welcome.
That was good, though.
Did you handle that?
And we're just getting
the
a taste.
audience will be super excited.
There you go.
We're just getting a taste because there's still 3 more episodes to come.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to checking those out. And we'll just have to wait and see how you did.
Yeah. I am not allowed to tell.
Don't spoil.
I will not.
Everybody watch.
I have heard, and I'm not asking you to elaborate, and Hellmuth tweeted or said this recently, apparently there's some hand that happens in the game that everybody is going to remember forever.
Insane.
Ooh,
yes.
Can't wait. Hopefully it's next time.
I can't say. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but it is definitely insane.
Well, definitely tune in if you can. And, PokerStars is the sponsor of this particular episode of the Poker News Podcast. And they, of course, are the sponsors of the big game. So let's move on, though. World Series of Poker is literally a week away.
I'm so excited.
It's just insane. Like, they're already starting to set up tables and get everything up the banners. I've got to go in just a couple days and start setting up the Poker News office. We have our team flying in. It's pretty exciting. We're going to do 2 episodes a week from here at Level 9 Studio in Las Vegas. We are going to release episodes on Tuesdays and Fridays, so we'll hit both ends of the weekend. Kyna might join me. Mike might be here. It depends on how you guys are doing when you're playing. If not, I'll try to find some fill-in guests or what have you. You'll always be welcome back.
Thank you.
But we'll just have to wait and see.
Every time. That's your Poker News outfit.
Tire.
But how are you guys feeling? Are you ready? Are you excited for the World Series?
So excited. I was there on Sunday at the Horseshoe, just like flitting around, and I was like, let's go look and see if it's set up. And they didn't have anything up yet, but I was like, okay, it's still a week away. But that's how excited I was. I was like, let's go see.
I feel like you make your rounds at the different casinos all week. Like, you're very enthusiastic. I feel like you're like a dedicated.
That was for something
fan.
else, but yeah, I don't really go to Caesars much. I was just there to, I don't know what I should say. To find EDC tickets.
Did you go? Oh, you went to EDC? Yeah, I saw pictures.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Nice. Dude, I didn't know it was EDC. I was playing at a Win Nightly, and Veronica Brill sat down, and I was like, well, oh my God, you're in town. And she was like, yeah, I'm in town for EDC. I was like, oh, I had no idea. And then later I was at the Golden Nugget playing cash like that same night because I busted the tournament, and I was like, let's go play cash and drink. And there was just like asses everywhere. Just naked asses, just thonged asses.
So many butts. So
the
many
butt
butts.
Parade everywhere. And granted, I mean, there is always a butt parade in front of the beach at Encore, or the beach club at Encore anyway. But this was like a more rave style butt parade.
It was fun for sure. Lots of butts, lots of stuff to look at for sure.
Well, the World Series is starting here in Vegas.
Back to the World Series.
Well, the World Series
not
is
as many butts.
Like they're diverting attention from Vegas to the commerce in LA, right? Because the WSOP circuit is there.
Yeah.
The Tournament of Champions is happening as we're recording this. It started today. That's where Mike is. Mike isn't in here because he went to the commerce.
Good luck, Mike.
Yeah, good luck.
And there's been a lot of ring winners already crowned, but none bigger than in the main event. $1,700 buy-in main event at these WSOP circuit stops. Got 1,467 runners, which is huge for the first time stop at the commerce. I think that's really good. And then, of course, it was won by somebody that is fairly well known. Jessica Vierling took it down for $328,000. It was her second ring and put her over $1 million in career tournament earnings. Are you guys familiar with Jessica?
Yeah, Jess is my bud. Good job, Jess. We were rooting for you for sure.
Congrats. Jess, funny story. She was the very first person to bust me out of my very first live tournament ever at the Orleans $100 Tuesday. And I never forget because I remember what she called me with too. I shoved with ace queen and she called with king jack off, and there was a king. But like she has a dog and the headphones and like it's a very memorable appearance. And then we played together again like a few weeks later at WSOP. But it was I will never forget. So congrats. She's at everywhere and everything. She's definitely a grinder, plays a lot, well deserved. She crushed it at that final table. I was watching the stream and she was just locked in, doing a great job. And
also Commerce is, I think, made a record, right, for women winning rings at their stop. Like at least three
Four.
women, four women have won rings at that stop.
Yeah, Christina Gollins won.
I don't remember I remember seeing one other
Kathy
lady,
Chang.
but Kathy Chang,
Kathy
and then
won.
there was another lady. Yeah, so 4 women won rings at that stop. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask about the WSOP Best Without a Bracelet. It's a topic that comes up every time about this time of year. We've seen people check their name off that list throughout the years, but there are always some that are there. One that jumps to my mind, and speaking of women, is Maria.
Maria, always Maria, every year.
Absolutely.
Maria.
You think she has a chance this year?
I hope so. She was close in the Bahamas, right? Was that for bracelets?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think she
got
finished,
like 3rd in that mystery bounty or something, or I think that might have been what it was.
There's a few years ago, she final tabled the horse event too.
Yeah. So I hope, we wish you well, Maria.
Yeah. She's
I hope
definitely
to see it.
well deserved to get one.
I'm trying to pull up an article on Poker News because we are going to have an article about this. It's not published yet, but I can gain access to it, about some of the players who are deserving or not deserving, right?
But like
That's right.
you expect.
They don't have a bracelet yet. So like Seth Davies, he's another one that he constantly crushes elsewhere, but at the World Series of Poker just hasn't gotten there quite yet.
Good luck, Seth.
There's Ben Wang. He's relatively new. Like he hasn't been grinding 10 years ago.
He just wins everything.
Yeah, he's just been crushing tournaments all across. What was he? He was like the player of the year for
WT.
Yeah.
Oh, and
in
GPI.
the Global Poker Awards. Yeah. Let me see if I can pull this up.
No, I played 2-5 with him at Red Rock, and I was like, I was like, this dude has 100% VPIP, and then I looked at him, I was like, is that Ben Wang? and then I like pulled up a picture sneakily because I didn't want the rest of the table. I didn't want to like call him out.
Yeah.
I was like, is this you? And he's like, how did you know? And I was like,
how did you know?
How did I know?
Because I'm everywhere, and
he's like,
I
I
win
come
everything.
to Red Rock to like get away from. Well, your secret's out.
Oh, that's actually fun. Who loves it more, right? Like that's the definition of it.
Last year, he did win the GPI Player of the Year. Started off by winning the Borgata Return for $1 million. Then he goes and wins the WPT Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown for $1.1 million. And then almost went back to back in WPT Final Tables. Finished 4th in another one for $143K. Has 2 circuit rings. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
He won the mystery bounty too. That might have been this year though. He won the WPT mystery bounty or something.
Yeah,
or the win mystery bounty, that big one.
I mean, honestly, I don't know what his playing schedule is going to be like, but if he puts in, the volume, I think he very well, could be
Has
a
a
front
shot
runner. Yeah,
for sure.
I have heard that he puts in the volume.
Yeah, I've heard from him that he puts in the volume.
Well, it's not my buddy.
Let's see. Seth Davies, I mentioned him. He's come close twice. He 5th place finish in the 50K high roller, 4th place in a 2,500 no limit hold'em. Maria Ho, your Game of Gold co-star, and winner. Spoiler.
Yeah,
alert.
Chad spoiled it.
She has over 2.2 million in WSOP earnings, but hasn't won a bracelet yet. She was denied in 2011, event number 4, 5K no limit hold'em. She finished in 2nd place for $540,000.
That's a long time ago too.
Yeah.
She was baby then.
She finished 6th, so I didn't know this one, in the 2017 World Series of Poker Europe main event, and has had some deep runs in recent years, finishing 3rd, as you mentioned, the 1,500 Mystery Millions last year. So, I mean, Maria Ho, I think, is maybe at the top of everybody's list. Like, you want to see her get it, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Let's see. Who else do we got on the list? We've got Josh Reichard.
My buddy, Josh, yes. He's actually going to be playing for the WPT in Seminole. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Seminole? And on the 28th.
Or was it Seminole or Choctaw?
No, it wasn't Choctaw. It was Florida.
Seminole.
Yeah. So that's on the 29th here in Vegas, and I'm definitely going to be there cheering him on. You should come too if you're free that day, and we'll have fun on the rails screaming for Josh. He came close last year. He got 2nd place in the mini main while we were there, and it was on the 4th of July before everybody was going to the party. So everybody on his rail was like dressed in 4th of July gear.
Oh, that's awesome.
And just cheering for Josh, and then he gets 2nd, but like 2nd was like $330,000.
Yeah.
So
to be like
still
that
pretty
close.
Still pretty sick.
One away from the bracelet.
I think Josh is going to get one. He's from Wisconsin, where I'm from. He's the best player in Wisconsin. I've played with Josh many times. Whenever he's going deep in something, we have mutual friends that I will text with, and like, Josh just doesn't make mistakes when he plays poker for the most part. And he plays to win. You know, he's not afraid to be aggressive. I really admire his game, and I honestly believe it's a matter of time before he wins a WSOP circuit or a WSOP bracelet. On the circuit, he's won 16 rings. You know, he's right there in the race of that. So, and Josh can fly under the radar, right? He's not the sort of player that sits down and is going to get recognized like maybe a Maria Ho or something.
Right, exactly. Yeah, people are like, "Who's this guy with the Green Bay Packers gear on?"
Hell yeah, go Pack, go.
Mega fish.
And if he can win a WPT title right before the WSOP, like that's some great momentum.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then one other one was Raminder Singh. Speaking of Florida, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Raminder Singh, but he is just a crusher in South Florida, has won literally dozens of tournaments, from $200 nightly type of stuff to, you know, bigger buy-in tournaments. Has never won a WSOP circuit ring, WSOP bracelet, my bad there. But he does come out to Vegas. He is going to try, and, you know, he might have a chance. And if you're not familiar with him, he was actually the most recent guest on my colleague's Connor Richards podcast on Poker News, Life Outside Poker, where Connor was down in South Florida and actually got to sit down with Raminder Singh. And I want to just show you a little clip from that interview to whet your taste buds. Here it is.
Believe it or not, for me, I'm not like a student. I've never looked at any charts in my life.
That's pretty amazing.
Never, ever I've looked at a chart, even today. And for me, it's mainly, I think, the life experience and quick math in your mind. I'm pretty good at math. My kids are, I think that's why they are in math competitions, you can see. I think good genes from Romania too, my wife. She's into accounting and all. I give her most credit for that. But quick math, when you learn to play poker, I strongly believe the calculation of blockers, right? What's blocking your hand, what your opponent may have, right? If you have two nines to a straight, two blockers in your hand, that's part of natural calculation. There's nothing new that's invented that we hear about. Oh, this guy has two blockers. Lately, we have started talking, you know. I saw some clips my nephew sent me. Oh, this guy has blockers, you know, he should call an all-in bet there. No. You win and lose by very thin margin in this game. These blockers and these, you know, number of big blinds and a lot of these stats are important. But those are basics, common sense 101. And a lot of those are lately, I think, are overrated, in my opinion. For somebody to even call off an all-in bet just based on, you know, what you have in your hand. Yes, that's information, very important. But are you going to base your tournament life on that? So when I hear that a little bit, I tell my nephews and my close ones, I'm like, follow the advice, follow the charts and all, but go with your instinct. In the end, if your gut is telling you and your read is telling you to go with a decision, you may be wrong one time, but most times you'll be right. So I strongly believe in that. So I decline to, and obviously I don't even have time with being a CEO of a management consulting company, a mid-sized company, family across the oceans and all. I don't even have time to like go back and study or look into these charts and all. So I just go with my natural instincts and natural strategy, and that's why I play live poker. I'm never going to be able to play online poker. I think I'll be very bad with that.
All right, so you get a little taste there of what Life Outside Poker is all about. I will link to it in the show notes if you want to check it out. You can also see it on Poker News' YouTube. And Connor is doing that every other week with great poker guests and is going to continue throughout the World Series of Poker. Definitely check it out. All right, let's turn our attention all the way across the world to a place I have never been, and that is Montenegro, where they have the Triton Poker Series right now. These are events that I'm never going to be able to play in because I don't have
Maybe. Not never. You never know.
I don't know. We're talking 25K, 50Ks, 100Ks.
Anything could happen.
Yeah. I mean, I played a 25K once upon a time, that first PSPC in the Bahamas back in 2019. Yeah. So did not do so well. Ended up getting busted by one Mike Watson, which is ironic because we're talking about winners from this Triton stop, and Mike Watson was one of them. He took down event number 3, $30,000 no limit hold'em, 8-handed, 154 entries. He won it for just over $1 million, which puts his lifetime Triton event earnings over $10 million. Mike Watson, Canadian player, really good. Like I said, he busted me from that aforementioned PSPC. You guys familiar with Mike at all?
No, but I'm going to be after this, man.
You don't really see him at the World Series of Poker too much because of the Canadian tax laws, right? A lot of those Canadian players don't come down. If he did, like, I have no doubt he would be crushing it here. But he's there, winning millions.
Keep him in Canada.
And event number 6. This is one I think Kyna, you said you got to play with this guy who won this one. So it was the $50,000 Bounty Quattro, 126 entries. It was interesting because there were $60,000 bounties once 25% of the field remained.
Oh, it's so cool. It's so cute how they like have their like spouses and like friends and stuff to like choose the bounties.
Oh yeah,
I love that system. I don't really love like the having to wait till after the tournament to pick them, but I do like that they let anyone pick.
Are you gonna let Steve pick the bounties?
If they let me,
you should.
Yeah, I would love that.
He has to come sweat your
He's
day
like
too.
my biggest fan.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
He's the best.
Well, this tournament was won by Ukraine's Igor Yaroshevskyy. He took it down for almost $1.2 million. Interestingly, he only had one bounty. And that was defeating his heads-up opponent. And
he had 2.
Well, yeah, because he got to keep his own.
Yeah,
right? And but he defeated Ike Haxton in heads-up play, which is interesting because
it's hard to do.
Well, hard to do, but Ike Haxton now has 5 runner-up finishes on the Triton and 0 wins.
Oh wow!
And he plays these high buy-in tournaments all the time. He has 39 Triton cashes for more than $12 million without a win, which I found an interesting stat.
Going along with what Nikki said, I watched the end, and it was just like a flip at the end. Whoever wins the flip is almost guaranteed to win the tournament. Like that would have brought Ike like pretty much even or over, I think, what he had. But when they had the cards on their back, like 2 of Igor's friends came around and they're all 3 standing there, and like Ike is just like staring at the 3 of them like, okay, everybody's against me. And it was just like, but it was a nice moment for Igor. Like, good for him to have friends there to enjoy the win with.
So funny too. Like we're talking about like who hasn't won a bracelet yet, but that Ike hasn't won a Triton trophy, but has won $12 million.
That'd be nice. I mean, hey, good job, Ike.
What would you rather have, a trophy, a bracelet, or the money? Like, let's say you won less money for a WSOP bracelet, but you get a bracelet and you get to like have that on your title forever. But you got like,
I don't know. I guess I'm here
you got
for
like
the
50
clout.
grand less.
I like the bracelet. I want a bracelet.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think it's like, that's the glory.
Money, I always say, like, this is something that keeps me going through the day, that, like, money is easy, success is hard, So I will take the bracelet all day long.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, another big winner on the Triton series was Adrian Mateos. I remember when he was a young gun. I mean, he's still relatively young, but just has been crushing it. He's from Spain. He might be Spain's all-time money winner at this point. He won event number 7, 50K no limit hold'em 8-handed, 159 entries, won it for $1.76 million. Is 12th career 7-figure score, which I thought was pretty crazy.
Jesus.
He's won $1 million a dozen times playing poker.
That's crazy.
I like his episodes on that podcast that they do. It's like the Winamax one. I can't remember. It's Inside the Mind of a Pro. Where they follow them around the WSOP, and I watch those sometimes. I should probably start watching them because we're so close. But just they have the different Winamax pros that go around and they talk through their day and talk through their tournament strategy. And I think his is in Spanish, so I watched it here and there. But I like watching him play. It's sick. It's awesome.
There was one event, it actually crowned a winner, I believe earlier today. It might have been yesterday when I was watching the stream, but it was the main event of this Triton stop. $125,000 buy-in for this main event, and it still got 171 entries, which I was really shocked by.
Yeah.
For $125K buy-in. A $21.375 million prize pool. It was won by, I'm going to butcher this name, Belarus's Mikalai Vaskaboinikau.
Sounds correct. Sounds good. Yeah, to my American ears, you nailed it.
Perfect.
He won it for $4.7 million.
Damn.
Which is just like, that's huge. Like, I remember 10 years ago, if there was a payout that big, it was like the biggest tournament in the world outside maybe the main event. And even the main event, $4.7 million is what the runner-up gets a lot of the time or thereabouts. So
yeah, it's sick, man. Wow.
Phil Ivey finishing 4th in that one.
You think Phil will come around to the series again this year?
I think so. I don't think he's going to put in a full grind by any means, but I do think like the cash games are pretty lucrative, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him jump into like the high rollers and the $50,000 Poker Players Championship. And I would love to see him make a run at bracelet number 11, because I can tell you from my experience at the World Series of Poker, this will be my 16th in a row. that from at least a media standpoint, whenever Ivey, Hellmuth, or Negreanu go deep, it's just there's some electricity in the air, and it's just like this high alert situation, and it's hard to replicate. And there's not really any other players that is applicable to. So when Ivey comes, it's just exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I hope I get to play with him.
I got made fun of last year for drafting him in our fantasy draft.
This literally conversation made me think about that.
Laughed at me.
So we did a fantasy WSOP draft on Nikki's podcast.
We'll probably do it again.
Holes.
Yeah, shout out to Ace Holes.
Check it out. It was
Making
awesome.
a comeback.
It was Joey Ingram, me, Nikki, and Caitlin, and we all picked teams. And it was offensive too. It was like the 7th or 6th round or something, and she picks Phil Ivey, and we're like,
"Well, I picked.
Is he even coming?"
I forget who I picked. Oh, Alan Kessler. You picked Alan Kessler way before Phil Hellmuth got picked, which is so funny. Hellmuth was on my team, and he won his 17th bracelet last year.
Yes, he did.
So there's that. Didn't get a lot of laughs for that one.
We didn't win still, did Joey?
I was second. I was second place.
I was second. You guys rigged it so that I would lose, making that online thing not count.
I was second. I beat you by 1 point.
Yeah, it was literally like all of us were 1 point.
She had Rampage.
Caitlin very lost, but like Joey
lost.
beat Nikki by like 1 point. Nikki beat me by like 1 point.
But kind of had Rampage on her team because you had to have a poker content creator. And he won he final tabled like a hybrid event.
Right.
And that didn't count.
And they didn't count it, even though the final table was live. I mean, that was a bunch of garbage.
It was an online event.
Well, speaking of fantasy poker, the 25K fantasy draft that Daniel Negreanu does is coming up on Monday. Poker News will be there to live report it. I will be there doing it, and I'm excited about it. And in advance of that, Negreanu is actually joining me here in studio at Level 9 Studio here in Las Vegas this weekend. So you're watching this episode. Come back in a couple days. My interview with Negreanu, we're going to break down everything 25K fantasy draft. Should be up. Fingers crossed he doesn't back out on me now that I just plugged it.
I hope so.
He predicted Joey would win our draft last year on Twitter.
Joey picked him. He was on Joey's team.
And I was
Sean Deeb was on my team, and Sean Deeb thought my team would win. So that's true. It's favoritism.
Yeah, Chance was on my team and thought my team
there
would
you
win.
go. So wait, are they streaming it again like they did last year?
So the draft itself will be live streamed, I believe, at 5 p.m. Pacific time on Monday on PokerGo.
It's fun to watch.
And then we'll also be doing live updates so that if you can't watch it, you can always go back and look. And then we're going to be doing some really fun stuff throughout the summer to promote the 25K draft, if you will. So Poker News has made some changes. One of them being now that players who are in the 25K draft will have a badge. You can click the chip counts so that if you don't want to see anybody but those 25K players, you'll be able to sort that. If you want nothing but hand updates for 25K players, you'll be able to sort it by that as well.
That's cool.
So yeah, we're making an effort to really track the 25K because it's been something that they've wanted and have had difficulty tracking. So I said, you know what, let's make this happen. So I'm pretty excited about it.
It was a nightmare having Caitlin and I manually tabulate everybody's
You remember
scores.
she couldn't even find at the end, who was it? Mike Rosito? Michael Rosito. She's like, who's this Mike Risotto guy? He didn't even play anything. I'm like, yes, he did.
He did.
That was funny. But hey, I'm glad that Poker News is making it easier to gamble on gambling. Good for them.
100%. Are you familiar with the speaking of non-bracelet winners, there's a Twitter thing happening. If you haven't won a bracelet.
The contest.
Yeah, there's
some bunch of people bet on it.
Yeah, a bunch of people are in it.
I remember.
There's 30 people in there. So it's $1,000 each. And if you've never won a bracelet, you can be in, but it's only for non-bracelet winners and it's under a 5K, I think. You can't be, it's not a high roller events, and it's only no limit and PLO. Everyone puts in $1,000. First person to win a bracelet gets the whole prize pool. If no one wins a bracelet, then you get your $1,000 back.
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Are you in it?
I'm considering. There's still some time left to possibly join, but I've been considering. I'm playing 15 events this year, so I feel I don't know, might have a shot. Yeah. I did 4th place my first year playing. It's 3 away. That was
That's pretty sick. Yeah, what a sick feeling to have made a WSOP final table, man.
Yeah, and I didn't even appreciate it at the time because I'd only been playing tournaments for like 2 months. I was like, oh yeah, this just happens. This is like probably gonna happen
all the
a lot.
time. All the time.
Well, we got one last little game to play here on this episode of the Poker News Podcast, and that is going back to my PokerThrift. Right, we've done this once before, I believe. I like to hit the thrift stores in Las Vegas, and I often come across some interesting poker memorabilia. In fact, that World Series of Poker cushion that's right there came from a thrift store.
Wow.
As did a lot of these items on the table, as a matter of fact. But I was at a Goodwill or some other thrift store this week, and I came across it was like a hat, like a visor hat, red for what was called the Poker Palace. Are you familiar with the Poker Palace here in Las Vegas?
No.
So I've never been, but I know it's somewhere way up north. And it's like this ramshackle kind of rundown place.
It's still in existence?
I believe so.
Oh.
Last I knew, so like I should probably visit there. But I've seen this visor and I thought, oh, this is interesting. But the problem with me and hats is I have a really big head, literally, not necessarily figuratively. So a lot of hats just don't fit me, let alone like a visor. But it was interesting. It was unique, but it was also $3.99, which kind of knows is a pretty high price point for me.
$4 for Chad. No.
So here's the game. Do you think I bought it?
Well, you're talking about your big head, and I don't know if that's to throw us off or if that's just like you giving us insight into your decision making on whether or not to buy it. I feel like you didn't buy it.
Kinda?
I mean, I know $4 is a lot, but maybe you saw $3.99 and you were like, discount. So I'm going to go ahead and just on a whim say that you did buy that.
Well, what I didn't mention was this was on a Monday and half price on Mondays. So
should have mentioned that.
I did, in fact, buy the Poker Palace visor.
Well, now we have to go. We should
definitely.
have an outing to the Poker Palace.
Now that you mention it, I think I might have seen it on Bravo, like where it's, or Atlas or somewhere where like it shows up and I'm like, where's that? Like it just skip
Let's
it.
go. Okay, we're going to have a girls trip there.
Yeah.
And with Chad.
All right, the second thing that I found was at a Goodwill, and I was flipping through shirts, and I seen a familiar like spade, right? Like you see, you see something to poker, and I'm like, oh, that looks like the PokerStars spade a little bit. And then I looked a little bit closer. I'm like, oh no, this says Venetian on it, but it's weird. Then I connected the dots, and I seen the NAPT logo. The NAPT hasn't been at the Venetian since 2010, so we got a nice old school shirt. We were talking about the NAPT. That's where you played the big game.
Yeah, that was what the shootout was too.
Yeah. So this one, $3.99 again, not half price. Did I buy it?
What size was it? Was it your size?
Extra large.
I'm going to say yes, because that's just such a rare find. And it's like finding a band t-shirt that toured and doesn't tour anymore. And like, I just think that you have to buy it. I would buy it even if it didn't fit me. I would wear it as pajamas or whatever. Like, I think you just have to buy it.
I'm again going to take the opposite side.
Damn,
I'm going to say
0 for 3. So anyway,
I'm going to say I don't think you bought that one. I just don't think you see yourself wearing it anywhere. I think it's a cool like, oh, look, I found this, but then you just put it back on the shelf.
Yeah. Well, I usually do pass on a lot of stuff, but I could not pass.
Yes, Nikki finally wins.
This one of a kind
cool
rare
one.
shirt.
It looks nice and new too. It doesn't look old
ooh,
and
and it's
crusty.
like got some texture. Does it have texture on it?
It says. Oh, I would wear that.
It looks like it.
It's like a little felt.
Yeah, it looks like felt.
Deep
Yeah,
stack shirts. I have a deep stack shirt that I wear to the gym. I
Deep
like
stack
it.
from Venetian, but it's got that old school NAPT logo still there. So
yeah, it looks almost new too.
Yeah, I couldn't pass that up for
nice.
Where the NAPT is coming back to Resorts World in November. So I'll maybe don that at some point. So.
We'll have to get new fuzzy hats for my birthday karaoke and then win everything.
Maybe I'll have to talk to the Poker News branding team and say, hey, let's just make some fuzzy hats for the girls at the NAPT.
I love that.
But
congrats on your finds; those are pretty sick.
It's fun, and I've gotten lucky, pulling some stuff out. It's just like a treasure hunt for me, I guess.
The Spraggy hoodies were by far the best. I love mine. I almost wore it today. I've been watching Spraggy throughout throughout his scoop adventure. You know, he's so great. And those shirts were awesome. I don't even know how they ended up at Goodwill.
And it's fun because it's Vegas. You just you never know what you're going to find out here because, you know, poker related, it being the World Series of Poker and stuff. In fact, I've heard I haven't found the place yet, but I've heard rumors that after the World Series of Poker ends every summer, all that merchandise that doesn't sell in the gift shop ends up getting donated months later to some of the thrift stores in town. So
good tip.
Yeah, we should go
and
on
I found, I have it in my house. I have many World Series of Poker shot glasses, koozies, that kind of gift shop stuff that I find at Goodwill for 99 cents. So
sweet. I have to do that because I never even think about that. Yeah, I remember when I used to live in LA, I was like, okay, go to the thrift stores in like Beverly Hills because they'll have like way better stuff than, like, it depends on the area, like what vibe you want.
Yeah, right.
Like if you want Hollywood vibes, like go to the Hollywood ones and all this stuff. But yeah, Vegas, I've never been to a thrift store here.
They're good because it's a transient city too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
People are
different
moving
stuff.
left and right. So, well, that is going to do it for the 831st episode of the Poker News Podcast. The next ones will be coming. The World Series of Poker will have started when we do the next episode, which will be, let's see, the 30s or 30 days? Yeah, 31st, May 31st. So May 31st will be the next episode. The WSOP will be fresh, and who knows, maybe one of us will have made a run by that point.
Yeah, let's hope.
Well, Kyna England, Nikki Limo, thank you for joining me. We'll be back then. Until then, we'll keep a seat open for you.
Peace.